Hello and welcome to everyone. My name is Lance and this is the first meeting, just so you guys know, for this particular meetup. And it's really about teaching but also learning what we want to cover and what we want to learn about in the meetup moving forward. So it belongs to all of us. I'll tell you a little bit about my background. So I'm originally from Colorado, mechanical engineer by training, and really fell in love with marketing and digital marketing. Made it a part of every job I had. I've had a lot. I've done everything from sales, business development, again, worked as an engineer. Most recently, kind of cajoled my way into head of growth for a Silicon Valley startup and helped take them from their seed round, 6 people, up to their first 2,500 customers, and did a lot of this digital marketing. And part of the process, I really learned more about what my passion is, and it's really around what we're going to talk about today, which is creating content and really changing the direction of your life to make your passion what is your paycheck. So we're going to talk about that. And so we're going to get started. And the first thing I really want to, if you guys only go away with one thing today, it's this number one rule of digital marketing, which is build your list. Okay, so build your email list. Email is never going away. Build your list, build your list. You should always be focusing on how can I get people onto my email list. Okay, so build your email list. That's the number one rule of digital marketing. And we'll go ahead and jump in. So again, this is the first session. We're not really going to give you everything you need to know, but we're going to at least whet your appetite and give you an understanding of the landscape so you can maybe make some more informed decisions about what you actually want to do. Because at the end of the day, it's really about choosing the right path, and you'll hear me talk about that a lot. So we'll go ahead and jump in and get started. So what's this meetup about? Really, again, it's about getting you familiar with the landscape so you can make more informed decisions, an opportunity to network and learn from each other. As for me, I am succeeding. I'll show you my path. I'll show you specific examples so you can see how I got there. But the best part is I'm not someone who's making millions of dollars, because then they leave you in the dust and then they're not a great person to learn from and then they throw you onto someone else. I'm just ahead of you a little bit in this journey, and so I think it's a great opportunity for us. And we want to do some goal setting and accountability. So, figuring out what we want to do and then taking incremental steps, small actions every day to get there. And this is a participatory. This is not just where you sit and absorb everything. You can do that, but I really want everyone to be a part of it, take ownership of this meetup. It belongs to all of us. And also, we want to be self-funded, so we really want the meetup to pay for itself. Again, because we're using this public space, we can't necessarily charge for it, but I do want this meetup to pay for itself, and we can determine what that really means. So just to let you guys know about Meetup, to start a Meetup as a host, obviously to attend is free for everyone. To start as a host, it's like $90, I think, for 3 months. At least that's the old model. So we'll go ahead and get started. And we'll have an opportunity later on to ask questions, so if I can ask you to hold off till then. We're also going to do introductions at the appropriate time as well to learn a little bit more about what you guys are interested in and to support that part of the presentation. So, and really, why are we doing it? It's really about transformation and lifestyle. So you'll hear this term, work from anywhere, or WFA. I've transitioned my career where I'm able to do that almost 100% of the time. So it's really liberating to be able to do that. And everyone here is in different stages. I love that we have the broad spectrum of ages here, which is wonderful. And we can learn from each other, and I think it's great. But it's really about that transformation and turning our current lifestyle where maybe we know we could be happier or live closer to our passions and really making that a reality. And so I think in the big picture, that's what it's about. And it's also sharing your gift. You guys may not see yourselves as experts, but you really are experts. Your life brings a lot of experience, things you've done, and you have an opportunity to perhaps turn that passion and that experience into something fun that you really enjoy doing. So whether that's blogging or course creation or building another type of business, that's really what's been the most fun for me. And as much as I have to do one thing to pay the bills, I want to shift it where I'm doing, let's say, course creation exclusively or something associated with that. So it's really fun and exciting. And then also to see your life shift towards that life that you deserve and that life that you really want to live. That's what it's really about in the big picture. So hopefully that's not too touchy-feely, but for me, that's what it means to me. And what has helped me is the path, right? Once you know the path, once you see the path, once you see someone else on that path, and it makes sense to you, you can get there much faster. So I knew about building an email list 12 years ago, and I toiled around with different things and kind of making websites and doing all this stuff and fidgeting, and I never really made progress because I didn't really recognize the path or the importance of the path and modeling after someone who's already achieving some level of success in what you want to do. So again, once you see the path, that's the big kind of aha moment where you can start to model your behavior, your tasks, and your goals to get there quicker. And again, we talked about the ability to work from anywhere at WFA. That's one of the major benefits. And of course, we're here tonight because we have one of these interests, either in blogging, creating courses, or building a business. And we call it a solopreneur, just like a solo entrepreneur. And that's sort of a word you'll see out there here and again. So path one, we're going to talk a little bit about blogging. And full disclaimer, I am not a full-time blogger, but I do have a blog, and I do use it for some of my funnels, or the funnel. When I say funnels, for those of you who don't know, it's essentially the content you introduce to people at certain times to move them forward to know, like, and trust you, okay? So the funnel is king. So you always have to think about the funnel and what is that. So an example of that is, let's say I go to a high school dance and I meet a young lady and I say, will you marry me? No way. It's not going to happen. Now let's say I go to a high school dance and I say, will you dance with me? And it was really fun and she had a good time and she sort of trusted me. Hey, would you like to go to a movie? Okay, we go to a movie, we have a good time. Another date, hey, let's go have dinner. We have dinner. We continue this cadence for a while, and then we build this relationship, and then love develops, and I propose to her, and she gets married. You have to think about that funnel with your product or your experience, and your prospects, leads, or visitors to your content, okay? So here's essentially what we're going to be covering in the next few slides. So I won't go into each one of them right now, but I will in just a moment. Really, what's your passion or what's your business? Many of you probably have that decided. Perhaps some of you are trying to figure that out. Maybe you have a few things that are, angels and devils on your shoulder bouncing around, and you really need to corral the cats and figure out what exactly you want to do. And so we'll help you work on that a little bit. And then we're going to talk about whether course creation, blogging, or some other type of business makes most sense for you, and how you're going to make money off of that. What kind of platform you'll use, especially for blogging, which is relevant. How will you drive traffic? So at the end of the day, that's probably the most important thing, is how do you drive traffic? So how do you get people to interact or to become aware of your particular offering? And then again, at the end of the presentation, I'll show you some live examples. So when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I mean, this is actually Mark Anthony, I think the singer's quote, but I'm sure a lot of people have said it before. And it really doesn't matter who says it, because it's a universal truth. And that's really what we're trying to work towards. So for blogging, there's several different mediums, obviously. Writing, which is the traditional blog. Video, which is growing immensely. You see people doing Facebook Lives where they're just walking down the street with their phone, and it looks so tacky, but it's kind of normal now, and people get a lot of traffic and make a lot of sales from doing stuff like that. So there's lots of different things. Microblogging is like Twitter. That's probably not going to be your primary channel, because you really can't convert people, or you can technically sell off of there, but it's probably going to be a side ancillary channel that you use. And then of course there's podcasts, so either just audio or audio and video. Okay, and you can monetize those as well. So how will you monetize it? We're going to talk a little bit about that. So how do you actually make money? How do people make money? So bloggers generally will have ads on their site, and you can do native ads. Let's say you want to advertise for some other business, you can put that on your blog. There's also platforms like Google offers, and a lot of other companies offer these turnkey platforms where you just put a little snippet of code and they'll automatically put ads up there. And there's all of this tracking technology like retargeting, where let's say you go to Amazon and you look at these great pair of shoes, and then you go to someone's blog, and in the side you suddenly see an ad for those shoes from Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. That person didn't know that you were going to buy those shoes or wanted to buy those shoes. But there's this back-end technology where it's basically an auction, and I won't get into the details. It's this super fast auction and ad exchanges, and they've identified you when you went to Amazon by a cookie, and then you're put up there when you go to that blog, and that ad unit's there so all these companies bid, and this is all automated by some very, very fast technology. And they say, hey, this person is a woman who looked at these shoes. Who wants that? And Amazon says, oh, I want that because I know she came to my site and looked at these shoes. So a lot of back-end technology, and there's platforms like AdSense that you can just put on your site and it'll automatically populate all of those ads. There's also subscriptions. So if your content's so great or high value, you can just charge people outright. Say, hey, I'm going to give you new content every month. Come to my site. It'll be behind a login and password, and so they'll pay a subscription to get access to that content. You can also make money by your YouTube views. So you could have a video blog where you're just posting all of these YouTube videos, and then YouTube will pay you based upon the traffic. So there's a child, I can't remember his name, but he just opens toys, and he makes $11 million filming, his parents filming him opening up toys. Okay, so there's lots of money to be made if you can figure out what that niche is. And then also you can sell products directly on your site and make money that way. So there's several different platforms for blogging written word. One is WordPress self-hosted. So for me, this is the favorite because you have total control. You can do whatever you want with technology, so implementing other tools, tracking, marketing automation, forms to capture emails, to build your email list. And then you also can use your own domain. So for example, my name, lancewills.com. And you can also, WordPress sites are very good for SEO. Okay, so SEO, search engine optimization, that's ranking high in Google. Okay, so Google indexes the web every day. I think they're able to do that now. Finding sites and determining what search terms they should surface your site. WordPress, which is a platform, plays very nicely with Google. Google likes it, so it's a great platform to use. Okay, WordPress.com is actually a hosted solution. So WordPress, while you can install it on your own server, let's say GoDaddy, or a server you rent, I should say, WordPress.com is turnkey. So it's free. You can host your blog there. You can't necessarily, I think you can actually use your own domain, but it's easy to get up and running. It's a little bit, to me, rinky-dink. I've never really seen a WordPress.com site come up in Google search results, but again, I think you can use your domain in WordPress.com. But you
use your domain in there is WordPress.com/.
Exactly. Well, it's actually, I think it's lancewills.wordpress.org or something like that. But you can't put code there. Let's say your forms, there's plugins through WordPress to do that stuff, so it does facilitate that. But you don't have as much control, and so that's why that's probably secondary to hosting your own WordPress site.
One point, if you host your entire site on WordPress platform, you can't take it anywhere.
That's right.
That's right. If you don't like it there, you can't.
That's right. It's not.
Have a GoDaddy, you can move it to another hosting, but you
exactly
can't do
right.
it to WordPress.
Exactly right. Good point. So that's one of the benefits again of the self-hosted. And then there's these DIY service. So I actually worked with a client. They didn't have a blog per se, but we tried to implement, a marketing automation tool or email capture tool, and we just needed a little snippet of JavaScript, which is just some code. It's pretty basic. It didn't, we weren't getting in there and gutting the whole site or doing anything in their technology. We actually couldn't do it, and so my client ended up moving off of their site, which I think was on Wix. Again, these are great. They're more like brochures if you have like a bike shop or something simple or basic like that. I'm not saying you can't do what you need to do there. I personally haven't done it, and I haven't really tried very hard, so full disclaimer on that one. But again, I like the freedom because as you start to grow and develop, your site is going to get more complex. You're going to be integrating more tools and more technology, and you really want the control to be able to do that, and you're going to do it best on a self-hosted. And then there's also blogging platforms which are out there, and they're not associated with your name. Like there's a site called Medium, which is actually very, very good for SEO. So if you do Google searches nowadays, you're going to get some great articles written by some very smart people on Medium, and so that's a great resource as well. Okay.
So on WordPress, is it all coded, or is there templates like they got on Wix and Squarespace?
There are templates. In fact, WordPress is absolutely wonderful. In fact, like I use GoDaddy, you can use whatever you want. With one click, you can just create a WordPress site on your hosting plan, and then you can go look for templates, do it all yourself. It's a great way to learn, but again, you get there faster by not dealing with that stuff, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on, okay? So any questions on these right here? We'll move on. Great. So how will you drive traffic? This is really the million-dollar question, because if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it really make a sound? Who cares, right? So there's a few different ways, and you're probably going to use a collection of these. So paid is probably the quickest way to drive traffic, and that's buying ads. Okay, so buying Facebook ads. Everybody's probably familiar with Facebook. Or buying Google ads. There's click-to-call ads for location-based searches and businesses and things like that. So you can always pay to get traffic. Okay. The second is earned. So that's creating and sharing content on other platforms. My favorite example is Quora, and I'll actually show you an example of this, which is a question and answer website. And so people have all these questions. You can go in there and answer questions, and then you can create some sort of a link back to your product. And you look like an expert based upon these questions you answer. In fact, you can actually make money on Quora asking questions as well. So that's a great resource to use to Quora.com. Quora. They have a program, and that's just the way, if you think about it, their platform, it would be stagnant. Everybody goes there to get questions answered. So someone's got to be asking questions, and so apparently they pay for people to ask those questions. So. Oh, they're probably getting their questions answered as well as asking. No, you're not allowed to answer your own questions, right? Because it'd be the self-fulfilling prophecy of just making tons of money. Who would allow that? And then the best is really owned. So the first example is going to be your email list, right? You own that email list. You own it. You control it. You're able to message them as much as you like, hopefully not too much, so you don't, it's not considered spam. And then also, you can use SEO on your website. So let's say your WordPress site hosted on GoDaddy. You can put the right keywords in there. Eventually, Google will index your site, and then you'll get, as you get more links back to your blog, it'll move up in the rankings. And then when people do a search for your widget, your site will show up. And so that's really the best, because that's essentially free traffic. Okay. I will mention this. To get started, there's always sort of hacks. You hear this term growth hacker, and that's doing like free or cheap ways to drive traffic. So, doing like what used to be free Craigslist ads, that's a great way to potentially drive traffic. And also it's a great way to explore the demand for your product or service as well. So if you're still trying to figure out if this niche has an audience, just putting something up on Craigslist is a great way to explore that and just experiment. See if you get calls. You don't even have to have anything yet, but you can put something up on Craigslist, and it's a really quick way to drive response. Okay. So we'll move into course creation. This is definitely my favorite area and my passion. We'll talk a little bit about what the preferred model is. We'll talk about the different platforms, and then I'll show you an example on a website. So I want you guys just to understand, for these online courses, there's two models. The first one is the marketplace, and this is where they will host your course generally for free, and then they'll also drive traffic. So they'll pay for ads to drive traffic to their platform, and once they get them on a site, then people will search for topics. Okay, I think this is probably the best place for most people to start, just because the barrier to entry is low in regards, we'll talk a little bit about the complexity of production and getting courses made. So another example of a marketplace is Amazon, right? You want to sell something, you park it on Amazon, Amazon drives all the traffic, right? Technically, you could just make a very good living if you have a good selling product on Amazon without having to drive traffic. Okay, so think of a marketplace that way. You just put something there, they drive the people, and then there's a revenue share or split. Okay, and it's usually about 50-50, 50% for you and 50% for the platform. And again, I'll share some specific marketplaces so you can understand what those are. And then if they drive affiliate ads, so if they pay advertising to drive traffic, your share is much smaller. It's like 25%. And then if you drive the traffic, it's like 97%. So if you're driving traffic through a special link that goes straight to your course, then you get 97% of that revenue. Okay? Again, The pro is that it's free. It's a great way to get started, low barrier to entry. They drive the traffic. Again, you have to have a quality course because your course, it's just like being on Google. Your course has to be good to get good ratings, so their algorithm will rank you higher and surface you at the top. It's sometimes hard to usurp or knock the top course off if they've been there a long time, so you want to be early as you can or very niche and specialized, okay? And they also offer some research tools and saying, hey, here's some new searches people are searching for. We don't have any courses on that topic in our platform. It'd be great for you to create a course on that. They're generally really like heady, like AI, robotics, weird technology terms, but sometimes you'll find some terms that are like coming up, like maybe goat yoga, I don't know, something like that, right? And then there's obviously good support. So there's another human to help you out with some of the challenges that you may have. Okay. The cons are they control the pricing. And what I mean by that is you can price your course for anything, but really they want to just sell it for the most number of units versus the right price. There's a curve where the peak of that is what they want to sell it for. So right now, courses have been selling pretty much for $10, but they're trying to, right now because they're trying to instill behavior in the audience, right? They're trying to teach people, oh, online courses, what's that? Oh, that sounds weird. I prefer a book. Well, try this out. It's only $10. Oh, okay, I tried it out. I really like it. Great. Now they're moving up market. Now their courses are usually about $15. And again, this varies by platform, but that's what they're trying to do, okay? And
then we just went from $9.99 to $11.99.
there you go, exactly. And the other con is you don't own the audience. So I have courses with thousands of students. I can send messages to them through the platform. There are some rules about doing that. And then there's some certain frequency that I can send those messages. And to get them onto my email list, you kind of have to walk a fine line of how you do that because they obviously don't want you to be pulling their audience off of their platform or their marketplace and giving them a bad experience elsewhere, okay, because they want to control that. All right, and let's talk about a DIY platform. So that's where many people who start on the marketplace model move to the DIY. And that's where you pay for a platform and then you host your course there. So very similar in that regards, but they don't drive any traffic for you. You're literally just renting the technology, okay? So you have to drive all the traffic, but you get all of the revenue that you drive, okay? So many people start on a marketplace, sort of figure things out, learn, kind of cut their teeth that way, and then move over to a DIY platform. And I'll talk about examples of both of these here shortly. Again, you keep more of the profit. And cons, it's more expensive, so it's a SaaS or software as a solution, so you're going to pay a subscription fee, maybe $30 to $99 a month for that, because they also do the payment processing as well, okay? And then they send you the money, okay? But again, you have to do 100% of the marketing. There's no free traffic that way. So it's a little bit daunting. You probably want to have built your email list up at that point so you have an audience that you can sell to. So here's some platform examples. So the main one that I'm a big fan of is Udemy, udemy.com, udemy.com. Go there. There's actually free courses that you can sign up for and take. I actually have one of those, Mac keyboard shortcuts, and I'll talk about how that helps me to have a free course on there in a little bit. Skillshare is another one. That's more of a subscription, so they pay like, users pay like $30 a month, and then they get access to all the courses. So it really devalues your course, okay, which is not good later on, because if you want to start, build an audience, build value, and you don't really want your course to be selling for pennies, essentially, if they're paying $30 for unlimited courses. But it can be a good source of revenue as well. Teachable is one of those DIY platforms where you're going to pay $30 to $99 a month. You're going to upload all your videos to create your course, but then you're left to market it. Okay, so Teachable is the big one, and that's what all most of the top people who are selling courses under their own brand are hosting their courses on Teachable. Skill Success is like Skillshare. It's a cheaper one. There's a lot of these platforms coming up every day. There's sort of these course farms coming up in India because there's such revenue potential to be made, and it's still pretty early in the game. So I found out about the Skill Success. And I said, all right, well, I'll put 1 or 2 courses up there. And then it ended up getting, some checks that were actually better than my checks from Skillshare. So you never know, they may be doing a better job of driving traffic to their platform as well, their marketplace. And then Kajabi is another DIY like Teachable, where you can host your course. You pay a monthly fee, and then they'll pay you that way. Okay, and you'll get coupon codes that you can use to send people to your course on either a marketplace or a DIY, and so you can control the pricing that way as well. For affiliate marketing, exactly. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about solopreneurship, and again, this is more about running your own type of business, and it could be anything, so it was kind of hard to hit the bullseye with the presentation on that, but I wanted to talk about some tools and things that you can do that can help you. So how do you get things done? It's really, multiply your efforts, and so there's lots of great sites out there to use to do that. So for creative, Canva is a great site. It's completely free. They obviously have an upgraded plan, but I actually made this presentation on Canva. So this is my first time